back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name is Courtney Shand, and I'm hosting with my dear friend, Brianna Mosier.
Hi.
The intention of this show is to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics by learning how to honor each other's natural, masculine, and feminine energetic core. So before we dive in, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Bree and myself, and then we have a fun follow-up from last week's episode. If you haven't already listened to that, pause this, go back and listen to what we love about women, because we're going to be talking about what we love about men today.
Yes. It's going to be so good.
I know. So, Bree, tell my new friends who you are, what you do in the world. Share your magic.
Who I am, what I do in the world. If you're new to the podcast, you haven't heard me say this 100 times. I feel like it's the same spiel every week, you know? My work in the world is helping really driven, ambitious women access their empowered feminine energy and attract healthy, empowered masculine partners. Part of my background is also in sex, love, and intimacy work. So I often do a lot of pleasure work with women as well to explore and expand their pleasure and coming alive inside their body. And a lot of emotional healing. A lot of my clients come from abusive or unhealthy past relationships. And because that's part of my background and what I've healed through, I'm well equipped to support them in that too. So that is my work in the world.
Amazing.
Courtney, what is your work in the world?
Yes. I operate as a trauma-informed dietitian. I really love helping women let go of the historical stories that they learned about themselves that kind of keep them from loving their body, revealing their heart to the world, and really sharing in a bigger way what they're here to do. So that is something that is so fun for me. I do that in the form of nutrition, the things that nourish us and the things that we get to therefore put out in the world.
Love it. Mm-hmm. So good.
Yes.
This episode.
We have our lists.
We're doing round 2.
Round 2.
Things we love about, things that made us fall in love with the masculine or with men.
Yeah. Or that really shifted. That really shifted our perspective when we realized this. I tried to think of things that were kind of unique to the masculine, not things that are just the way he lights up when we are around. Although that's a good one.
That's a really good one. And I think we should preface this with too that we're talking about good, healthy, empowered masculine men. We're not talking about the masculine at large, because like you've heard us say a million times on the show, wounded masculine energy exists. There are perpetrator types that exist. No one is saying that that's not an element and that it's real, right? Because it is. But we're focusing on, with good, healthy, empowered masculine men, what we love so much and what made us love men so much more. And I'll just say personally, when I started to learn the differences between men and women, or the masculine and the feminine, it changed. When I learned the differences between men and women and I really started to honor them and see them, that is truly what healed my relationship with men. No longer projecting that because I'm this way, this must be how men think, this must be how the masculine thinks, believes, and operates. When I understood the differences and honored them, then I fell in love with men. But before I knew any of that, which Courtney and I know you teach in your courses, I teach in my courses how to make those shifts. Before that, I think I judged men a lot. I didn't know how to take it. I didn't know how to take them. But now, I just love men so much.
Yeah,
and women. It's
amazing.
So good.
I was going to say, circling back to last week's episode, is the things that we don't understand about men also cause us to judge ourselves and kind of clam up on their behalf. We judge for them, not knowing who men are and what they're about. And therefore we hide the things that would otherwise reveal these things about them to us. It's like a zero-sum game. It doesn't have to be.
Totally. Yes, such a good point. We both, the same style as last week, came up with separate lists. I don't know Courtney's list. She doesn't know my list of things that we really love about men. She can't really even see my list if she wants to because of my handwriting. I can see hers, but I'm not going to look.
It's encrypted.
It's okay.
It's pretty encrypted.
So we're going to go back and forth and then just kind of riff on some of these things. And I hope that you can see this episode as an anchor to help you see men differently, right? I hope it shifts your thinking. I hope you start noticing these things in the wild, if you will, and that it can start to heal your relationship to men and to the masculine I know it won't be as much as if you knew this whole, body work that you have in your courses and I have in mine, but it'll be a great anchor to get you in the vibration of good, healthy men exist. Yeah, the world needs more of that.
Yes, which is such a fun paradigm to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of pressure that gets released just making that pivot into this paradigm.
Huge.
Game changer.
Yes.
Okay, let's dive in.
Okay. You want to go first?
Yeah. Your makeup looks so pretty.
Thank you.
I just have to say your eyes are popping today.
Because I got my colors done, I know what to do now.
I was gonna say they look great.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we would be remiss to not say
it.
How freaking determined they are for us to be happy.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Oh, this gets me every time.
Yep. It's on my list too.
Like not just like happy, like happy.
Yeah.
When I realized that, I was like, oh, that's why he is getting so like uptight about things playing out the way that he envisioned, because he has this destination where you are going to be like 10th level happy, not because he just wants to be like difficult to be around or a stick in the mud. Like he really wanted this to go so perfectly so that you experience this like elation and joy. Not that he doesn't, not that that behavior would be okay if he's acting that way, but to know this is where he's coming from. He wants for you to be so happy, frees me up rather, to receive all of that and to start showing that. That's what he's after, is my happiness. If I'm like clamped down on that and withholding the thing that he's putting all this effort to receive, that's it. That's
the revealing of the happiness too, right?
Yes.
Not just it's nice he did that, but expressing it, letting it come alive inside your body, your voice, how you hold yourself. That's the, I did it.
It's worth it. Yeah. Yep. The move heaven and earth thing that I always heard in the masculine feminine space, like he'll move heaven and earth to make this happen.
He will.
He actually will, because this is what he wants. Is the amount of radiance and joy that comes out of a woman's body when things do fall in line like this. So, yeah.
So good.
So good.
So I'm going to piggyback that one.
Please.
And give you another. How they are looking for things that make you happy and making mental note of it, and they just silently act on it. I love that about men. I love how the masculine does that because they want to make you happy. So sometimes I'll come home, my partner will be like, I did the dishes just like this way. I left them like this, just like you like. And it's like he's waiting for me to show the revealing of the happiness, and I can tell he wants to see it. Like he did it because he wants to make me happy, not because he wants to do it, because he wants to see the feminine exuberance and radiance. And I love that. My dad will do this too. Such a good example. We often joke in our family, be careful if you say you like something in front of my dad. This is the sweetest thing in the world. I never thought about it in this context, but we joke about if you say, oh, I really like this energy drink or this flower or this type of toilet paper, whatever it might be, you just see my dad pull out his phone in the background like this.
Like queuing it up.
He has a notes page and he remembers things, dates, things that matter to people. Specifically with my sister and my mom and I, if I say I really like XYZ candy will be at my doorstep within a month. And it'll be like a bulk package of it. And then as it's coming, I'll get a text 2 days before. Santa Claus is on his way to town. Like, such a dad joke. I'll be like, what do you mean by that? He's like, I'm just saying, are you gonna be home the next 2 days? Something might end up on your doorstep.
You might want to be.
It's so dad speak,
I love a good dad joke.
Yeah. When I really loved Fruit Loop Marshmallow, the cereal, I love kid cereals, just a thing. He sent me like 4 boxes in a care package when I first moved to Nashville. He's like, bet you don't know where I got these. They were hard to find at the time.
Oh.
Just looking for the win. And then the day it arrives, did you get your package? What do you think? Like he just wants to see the happiness, Oh, I love it.
Oh, so sweet. And so like next level. I feel like a lot of times little things like that get swept under the rug, or they kind of get like wrapped up in the rest of the situation. And to just pause and appreciate that is something that is naturally motivating to men. to me, that is like, that changes the game.
Agreed.
So good.
Next on your list. I'm not looking.
Well, I already mentioned, like, just the awareness that they have to the experience as it's unfolding. They are like plotting a path to get you to where you need to go in order to experience this level of happiness that you are alluding to that you might like. Like, sometimes it's a guess, and he gets to bring all of that creative energy and resource to the table of like, how can I make that happen? What would really like spark that for her? Like, it is just so incredibly endearing. Once they do start learning little things about you that you do light up around, that is like not always going to be on repeat, because they're like, ooh, I bet I should like this too. Oh, and I bet this too. Oh, and probably that too. And it just like expands this repertoire of things that make you happy that you may not even know that you would be so happy to have. The ability to surprise based on what you don't realize about yourself, that they are just like intuiting.
So good.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just had a moment. my brain was like, you know what it was? Because as you were talking, I was thinking about something else I love about men, and then I was listening to you go off, and I was also in my head going, oh my God, and I also love this about men. And I was trying to come back in the room when you passed the ball, and I was like, and
I'm here.
And I don't know what you just said because I was thinking about this. That's my honest answer. Speaking of what I love about men, they will be honest versus pleasing. I love women, and we talked about last episode, I love feminine communication because it just feels like home. But understanding the difference that men are going to value integrity, honesty, and what they truly think so much more than, women, we have this instinct to keep connection. That's really what it is. We don't want to disagree because then we feel like, oh, are we connected, right? Think about even with your girlfriends. If Court and I were talking about something and I said, I love coffee. Coffee is one of my favorite things. I love nicely done coffee. I'll pay for it. This is not true about me, by the way. I don't really feel that way about coffee. But let's say I did, and Courtney was like, "It's not really a coffee fan. I could never get into it." I would be like, "Oh." Connection point is missed, right? You feel it. It's palpable between friends. You know, she's going off about how much she loves flowers, and I'm like, I think flowers are kind of a waste of money. She's gonna literally deflate in front of me.
You're like, well,
and that is often an opposite, a thing that gets in the way, I think, between men and women's relationships. But now that I understand about men, that they value telling the truth and they value integrity, good, healthy men. So they're going to stay silent most of the time if they don't agree, or they'll just be honest. And they think that their honesty is like how to keep just being myself.
How to keep the connection.
Exactly.
They don't run with people who consistently lie to them. So in their mind, we keep connection because I'm honest with you. And in our mind, I'm like, ouch, I am not going to stay connected with someone who is painful to be around.
Yep.
Difference of perspective.
Yes. But the thing I love is that you can trust their word. So when my partner does go off with me about something, he's like, I agree. Like, I think, oh my God, coffee's so good and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, he really means it. Versus with women, sometimes they'll give you like a convoluted answer, like a walk around, like, I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but I can appreciate a good coffee. That's such a classic, right? Feminine communication thing to say. Maybe that's come out of Courtney's mouth at some point. Probably has, honestly. She's the best at that.
Courtney playbook here.
Yes. And men will just be like, I'm not a fan. I appreciate the straightforwardness and the differences that there are between men and women in that way, because I really trust when my partner says he likes something, he wants something, this matters to him. I'm like, he's not going to lie about that. It's just like not in him. He's not going to lie about it. Yeah.
Such a good one.
Easy to read. That's what it is. Nothing to read, really.
When you know this, yes.
Yeah.
Before you know this, you will spend hours
trying to read
between the lines, texting your girlfriend. What did he actually mean by this?
It's exactly what I wrote. I said, there's nothing between the lines. Straightforward communication. Yeah. Different from women.
Very different from women.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so funny. I think in terms of let me think here. In terms of communication, I would say, well, I'm going to leave that one as it is, but they will, what I was thinking of is, in terms of communication, I think this is what the interplay is so refreshing to them, because when you spill the tea around your masculine partner, he's like,
listens.
Like, what are my, I'm in, but what am I listening for here? And you can see his wheels start turning, and
what's the point?
Yeah, they're like, this is important, or she wouldn't be telling me. Very masculine thing. But what's important here?
Honestly, sometimes it's not important.
And most of the time, until men understand that will cause some hiccups too.
It's not important at all. I think I gave Courtney a report on every important person in my life today, none of which is important.
Here for it.
Like, at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's so endearing, like watching reels of couples where he's like equally invested, because he's committed to your experience. He wants your experience. He's listening to the periphery experiences because of how it impacts you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
dedication.
so good.
I know.
My partner, I love him so much. He will often recall the tiniest details from stories when I've given him the meta report. And I always try to free him of remembering, you know? So I say like, hey, there's no point to this. You don't have to remember anything. I just want to tell you about it. And he always stops me and goes, yeah, but I listened to you. And I'm always like, I know you listened to me. He's like, I'm just saying, you can tell me, there's no point, but I'm going to listen to all the details. And then he remembers them, and I forget I even told him. I think because he's probably adapted to feminine communication and just wants to make me happy.
Yes. Yes.
So he knows all these little nuances to the T.
And once it is spilled, he's like, I'm in.
Got it.
I have all of it. Oh my gosh. I love that. What's on your list?
Am I next?
Yeah.
Okay. This. I love this about men so much, and it is so different from women. Their commitment doesn't change based on how they feel about you in the moment. If my partner's pissed off at me, he's still gonna open my door. He's gonna put his hand on my leg in the car. He's gonna seat us at the restaurant. He's gonna ask me about my day. Meanwhile, I'm like this. I cannot separate how I feel from being real. You know, it's like, this is all I know now. I am mad at you.
Yep.
But and it blew my mind when we first started dating and before I knew it about men, because he would feel like, why are you, withholding love? And to me, it's like, but my feelings are just my reality. You know what I mean? It's how I feel in this moment. And he'd be like, yeah, I'm mad at you. Like, really irritated me this morning, but I still love you. I'm still gonna make food for you and get your coffee for you and do all these things. And I'm like, quick question, how? My body won't even let me do that sometimes. Now I've gotten much better at it. We're talking about factory settings, right? So I am still able to show the love. And it was actually something I had to work on for a while, to not let my feelings take over my commitment to the partnership. But I love that about men in general. They're not going to mistreat you if they're irritated with you. If we have an argument in the car and we walk into a public situation together, no one's gonna know we had an argument in the car, because he's gonna be just as loving and there. Good, healthy men. So cool.
That's
like
kind
how?
Yeah, that's kind of one that I had of like their willingness to see things through.
Oh, yeah.
When they're in it, they are in it. And they will, like, the move heaven and earth thing. Like, they will challenge any obstacle that comes up in their way of staying on the path. Or rerouting if they need to. But they are in it. They are not leaving the, like, path that they're on. Once they have decided this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, it is like, that is it. And that there is something, once you can understand that and get used to that in your nervous system, that feels so endearing and so like charming.
Yeah.
And such a such a stabilizing thing. Like the keel is going this way in the ship, and that is the direction you can trust that we're going until I let you know. Until I let you know that the ship is turning, that is the way that we're going.
Yes. Versus the feminine is like, well, it was turning that way. Seems like the winds might be going a different way today. Nope, still that way. Nope, still that way. Maybe a little over here. It's like, because our feelings are real all the time, you know? And that's not a bad thing, by the way. I also love that about women. Like, it's just appreciating the differences, you know? Not one is better than the other. The contrast is just so,
It is so fun. So fun and so much more exciting.
Yeah.
Like, it really does make life a little bit more interesting than just one flavor all the time.
Yeah.
That's why we say, like, our girlfriends are our best, some of the best relationship quality-wise that we have. And the masculine partnerships are different but equally juicy and equally nourishing.
Yeah, fulfilling. And it also lets you see your own feminine characteristics in a different light. You know,
yes.
I feel like I've celebrated my femininity more with him because I can see it more. And when I wasn't dating more masculine energy beings, again, nothing against it, it's truly just, you know, what I'm attracted to, what works for me. When I wasn't dating men that had so much empowered masculine energy, like they were more, let's say, in their feminine, I couldn't see my femininity as much because there wasn't a lot of contrast, you know? So it's like we're both kind of playful and all over the place. And I almost found myself going more into my masculine to subconsciously like create the difference, if that makes sense. But now with my partner, I feel like I get to be la la la, float around, be a fairy. I was explaining to him this the other day. This is another thing I love about men. I think he thinks I'm a space cadet. Now, you know me. You know me. I am not a space cadet.
No.
I am on it. I run a business, the podcast, all the things, like on it. But because when I'm with him, he's gonna take the lead and open the door and make the plan and park the car and where are we walking to the door? I don't even know where the door is when we're together. Like, where's the door? He's like, why are you walking that way? The restaurant's over here. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to know? I thought I was just following you. I'm daydreaming right now. I'm not even thinking about, I get to not protect myself at this moment. And I'm just la 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 la. You know that when the TikTok trend was going around of girls just singing in their head where he's like, door, door, exit, person over there. And she's like, That's what I feel like. And that's one of the things on my list is their protector energy.
Oh, yes.
I love the masculine protector energy.
Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, I had that as well of like, they're always aware of where you are in space. Like they have an eye on like where you are. Even when they're focused on something else, they do have like a checkpoint. It's so endearing and so relaxing to be around when you learn that and when you can start to trust that.
Agreed.
So good.
Go on.
That also makes me think, kind of on the same vein, is their consciousness of time is different. I love a man that can keep time.
You do love a man with a plan.
I love a man with a plan.
Yeah.
And making plans sometimes requires time awareness. And I'm decent at it. But to have a partner that can keep time and get us where we need to go in a way that feels good to get there.
Yeah, you get to turn your brain off.
I get, that part of my brain is like, all right, see ya. See you next spring.
I'm in La La Land now.
That is my la la land, is
You've
time.
got it.
When I can check out of time mode.
The best is when they're like, we have to leave by 7:45.
Yeah, give me a head start.
Great. Now I don't have to think about anything. Anytime I try to jump in for timing, he'll always be like, I got this. Trust your man. I got this, baby. What's the issue? I'm like, you're right.
The phrase a woman loves to hear.
Yes.
I've got this.
Yeah. But he's always I can tell, a little irritated that I've doubted his process, you know? I've got this. You're like, you're right. I don't know why I just did that. Okay, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir.
You are right.
You're right. Say it again.
You wouldn't have made it this far if he hadn't.
Just saying. Another thing I love about men is that they will not. Oh, we were talking about this before. A lot of times women think men are non-committal. They misinterpret this. But actually, when you get to know men and their motives, you talk to a lot of good, healthy men, what they will tell you is that they value commitment so much that they'll wait to give it until they actually mean it. That's the thing about actually meaning it and not being pleasing and really honoring women that and good, healthy, empowered, masculine men really value. So my partner and I waited a long time to commit to each other full on. We were exclusive for a while, but before we were like, this is it, we're doing it relationship, took a while, and that was hard for me at moments. And if I didn't know that about men, it would have made me question. But what I understood is we both wanted to be in a place where we were ready and we trusted it and could really give our all, and he was ready and I was ready. And then when he was in, there was no question about it. Like, I could feel the difference, you know? And so it's not that men are non-committal, it's if they don't think that they can be that man for you yet, or they're not in that place, or maybe you guys aren't in that place yet, or something needs to happen, or they want to be this place financially, they want their business to be there financially. Every person is different. They want to heal this thing first. But those things are in their mind to protect and honor you, not to withhold commitment, right? It's actually because they want to do right by you fully. And we're talking about, again, good, healthy men. We're not talking about men who take advantage and are wishy-washy and I don't want a girlfriend, but I want to keep hanging out with you. That's not what that is. They're truly considering, if I make this commitment, can I really keep my word on it?
What is it requiring of me, and do I have that? And how empowering as a woman to frame it that way. Like, once I learned this, and I feel like this was part of your story too, like once I realized that, it took away the like, what's wrong with me?
Why doesn't he love me enough?
Yeah, am I not doing something? Like, I think I'm pretty great. Like, what? It was like, oh, okay, there's something that he sees that I get to get curious about.
Yes.
Like, what is in the way? That's a whole conversation. A gutsy one too, that most people don't have. They're like, okay, bye.
Because I would think it's because we take it so personally, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Because when we care as women, we will adjust, please, shape shift all the things, right? So it's like, well, what do you mean? I can sacrifice X, Y, Z to make it work. That's just the differences.
Yeah. Yeah, in a woman's mind, I think it's like, that'd be nice to have, not a requirement. And for a man, it's like, this is a requirement for this to work.
Yes.
Difference of definition.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. What else is on your list?
I mean, I kind of already mentioned it, but I love the side of men that comes out when their woman is around. It's like when the bride walks down the aisle sort of thing. Encapsulated. The things that men get to experience when they are in the presence of their woman or a woman that they really value and trust, that side of them that is more available for emotions and spontaneity, and it's almost like a permission slip for this whole other side of them to come online. Like, I didn't realize I love sunsets or flowers or baked goods or, you know, like whatever, until he experienced it with you. And now it's like, oh, this new appreciation, this whole like index. And then they go down this rabbit hole of like learning and, you know, figuring out why and all the things. I love that. It like sparks their own interest.
An expansion. of who they are, their interests, what they desire. Yeah, totally. It's like the classic story of when the man starts putting poopery in the bathroom, even after he's single, you know? Why? It's pleasant. I like it. Like that kind of course I'm going to have it here. I've just realized that this is a great idea. So I'm going to leave this in my bathroom whether I'm with her or not, you know? That kind of energy.
Exactly. Yeah. Decorations.
Yes.
Knickknacks.
Yes. Knickknacks.
I mean,
every nest needs a knickknack.
I am telling you don't have to live like a bachelor. You can have knickknacks too.
So good. It is funny, right? The minimalistic perspective. Obviously, this is a wide generalization, but how men tend to decorate very minimalistically. And a woman comes in and she's like, stuff. Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Over here, over there. Where are they? You know? Because you want to make your nest look how you want it to look. Yeah.
Its function is
beauty.
Enjoyment and beauty.
Yeah. Well, the feminine is all about beauty. Everything is beautify. Before I knew that about women, I misinterpreted it. We talked about that last episode. Why do we have to be so concerned with flowers, makeup, house decorating, all these things, DIY, gardening? It's like beautification. We can't help it. We want it.
Yeah.
Everyone to their own varying degrees, obviously. And I know that's close to a gender stereotype of like women love what's beautiful, but I do think the feminine in all of us really appreciates beauty.
Yeah. Ooh, which is why, going back to point one, when you are radiating in terms of happiness, light, joy, playfulness, he is going to be like, he can't help it. Because that energy is so like magnetic and so unique to feminine expression.
Yeah.
The masculine doesn't express that way. Men, by and large, in their world, don't express that way. And they get this permission slip to tap into these really fun, enjoyable, pleasant feelings when we're around. Single-handedly.
Yeah.
No.
And it's all because of us.
But when we are happy, when we are willing to share those with him, it is, like you said last week, it is color in what would be black and white.
I really appreciate the black and whiteness too. The container, the grounded energy, the I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna hold the space, I'll make the plan. You know, it's like you get to flow around and they're just very consistent. We joke about older men being predictable and stuck in their ways, but I've come to really appreciate and admire that about the masculine. It's consistent, it's predictable. That feels actually very good to my nervous system. The more healing I did, the more I appreciated that consistency. It doesn't mean that someone's not playful or having any variety, of course. It's just their ability to hold the space and the container in a way that's really grounding. I love. Sometimes women are like ping pong balls, and I also love that. I love both.
Yeah, I love that because it reminds me like they are very clear. Like their judgment is pretty clear because it's black or white. There's a gift in that where they have a very clear line of like it's an either or, and we're like, but it's all in the middle. I can see this side, I can see that side, I can see that side. And they're like, no, here's where I am, which is great because you get to see where they are on a lot of really potentially volatile things that you get to say, like, does this line up with what I would like in my partner? It's on display. Like, he's not hiding anything. He's like, here's how I feel about it. This is what I think about it. This is what I see. And you're able to discern that, where women can be, like you said, a little bit more...
what do you need? I'll be it. What would get you to choose me? Ballpark.
Hypothetically,
what are some characteristics that would make you think, I want that woman to be my wife?
What's your idea of a perfect date?
Because I can be that. Wounded feminine will do that a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, empowered feminine is very different, but it's kind of like factory setting, like we talk about. Yeah,
but I do think there's a gift if you're willing to hear a man's judgment about things. It can feel very stark and very cold. But the gift in it is that there's so much clarity. So much clarity there. And clarity can be very grounding to experience. When you're in your wounded feminine, it's not going to feel very grounding. It's going to feel hurtful and painful. But as you integrate your own masculine energy, you can appreciate that there is a lot of clarity to be had, in the same way that he's not committing to you just because it's like, let's see where this goes. He's committing to you because that's a thing.
100%.
Ooh,
Good.
That also reminds me is they have a nose for this stuff. Like the clarity that they have, they see what's happening in equal clarity. And so if you ask someone what they think about someone else, they are going to give you a very black and white representation of like, this is something that I would steer away from for this exact reason, or this is something that I think is a really good thing to go into. If we are able to hear that judgment and not take it personally, we can really get a lot of feedback that we as women would otherwise be very malleable and possibly overlook because of our own malleability.
That makes sense. There's a lot more structure and just it is what it is, kind of. Yeah.
It's the whole, I mean, even like the man versus bear conversation, which actually I'm glad we're talking about this episode while that's what's happening.
Yeah, same.
Because in my experience, men have a decent read on other men. When I have not trusted the men that I know have been like solid in my life and have like showed up over and over again for my best interest, when I've not listened to their perspective on things, which granted you do have to, find your own path and all that stuff, but there's insights that they could have told me and saved me a lot of time.
If you had trusted it.
if I had been in a space to listen to it. There's a lot of wisdom to be had. They can pick up on it. I don't like that guy. He's not good for you.
So true.
Oh, but he's great. He's a little fixer-upper. I don't like him.
And how protective, right? It's going to supersede their fear of conflict. So good.
Yeah. The other one is the wanting to give you what they have.
Oh, anything.
Yeah.
The last bite. Like the best bite, to make you happy.
I always think of, I remember when we were first learning this and you were at the liquor store and the guy was like teaching you about all the different things and you had gone in for like one thing, like you had already decided like what you wanted and he like gave you a whole lesson on this. I love when men do that. I love learning, so I really don't mind when men are like, oh, you're curious about, if I have time, granted. Oh, you're curious about wine? Let me tell you, based on what you're moving towards, this might also be, like the whole lesson involved.
How do I make you happy? Yep. Yeah. Let me give you all the knowledge I have on this. Yeah.
Oh,
so good.
So many examples of that where they want to share what they know. They want to share with you in general what they have. That's been my experience. Men can be very generous and they want to share with you. Not in a mansplaining way. I know that's kind of commonly how it can be perceived, but but in general, they have collected all of this knowledge and they want to save you time and give you what you are really wanting, and also to make sure that you have everything you need to make a good decision. Like,
so true.
So empowering.
And every win they have, they want to share it with you. Like they make a lot of money, it's like, well, we'll take a trip.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How do I also give this to you? How do I use this to provide for you? Women were not always like that. But I think there's less shortage consciousness, it's very I've made this and now I want to pour into these people I care about to take care of them. So taking care of, it's just so kind. Yeah. Let me see, is there more on my list? Oh, I have another.
Oh, good.
The way that they focus on a task until it is completely finished.
Oh, yes.
When I do things around the house, sometimes I'll like do a little thing over here and then I notice, oh, the laundry needs to go in. So I'll go over here and I'll put in the laundry. I'm like, I should really clean out the laundry room. I start cleaning out the laundry room and I find a memento from my past. By the way, all the women know it's over with at that point. Right? Once you find a memento from your past, there's no more cleaning to be done. We're actually on a trip down then memory lane now, right? Like that's where we're headed. But yes.
Calling my mom.
Literally. But the other day I asked my partner if he could fix this curtain. You saw the one.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the anchor on the wall. It was frustrating me. And because it was frustrating me, I thought I'll give it 2 attempts. When it didn't work, I'll do it later. I'm not doing it right now. I'm getting too frustrated. I'm not going to be able to do it. So I asked my partner to do it. He starts to do it. He sees the same problem. Only he doesn't say I'm going to do it later. He's like, now let me think about this. And then he's trying new things. And he's trying different things. Until it's done. And then he gets the curtain up and it's fixed. And he tried all these different methods until he could get it to work. It's the single focusedness of this is the task and I'll do it to completion. Same thing with my dad when he was installing this dimmer for me. He really wanted me to have a dimmer. And now I'm thankful because he knew that I'd be happier with a dimmer because I have sensitive eyes. And he knew I had sensitive eyes. He's installing the dimmer and he can't get it to work. And I'm seeing him go, now this is interesting. I've never seen a dimmer do it like this. Your wire, I bought a new house. It's like, your wiring must be a little bit different in this house. This is from the 80s, huh? And he's like going through his whole process. And I kept saying, Dad, it's fine. We'll worry about it later. Like, no problem. Let's just hang out. He's like, nope. I'm going to figure this out. He always says, I'm going to figure this out. And within an hour or so, he gets the light up. Come in here, Brianna. I want to show you something. They're walking me through how to use the whole light. It's the sweetest, kindest thing in the world. I was like, Dad, how did you not get so frustrated during this process? He's like, what do you mean? I just had to get it done. I'm just going to keep trying until I figure it out. I was like, I got to be honest with you. I would have given up after 2 attempts. That would have been it. And I would have moved on to a different task that I knew I could solve and feel productive about. But men can be so focused on this is the task. I will complete it. And then I will move on. Women are kind of like 10% of this task, that task, that task, that task. Ta-da! What do you think?
Ask me what all I did with my day.
Yes, and I love that I just love that. I really admire that about men. It inspires me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that they're fueled by obstacles.
Ooh, yeah, not me.
Like a little bit of healthy frustration to the masculine is what grows masculine energy.
Oof, so good.
For the feminine, it's like, okay, I'm done.
The challenge and to the accomplishment, that's what they want. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. That's better wording. Yes. To kind of crest that hill and come into the accomplishment area for them is like, it's worth it for them.
Oh, I love that. For me, it's like, dang, I don't know if I have the energy to deal with this challenge right now.
Not today.
Do I have enough energy to allocate to solving this? Or what's my higher priority is kind of what my brain does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm kicking you under the table.
That's okay. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think a general, like, the problem solving. I know it can be very frustrating for women when they're wanting to express their feelings and he's trying to solve them. The problem solving, man, it is such a gift. Same thing, like the men in my life, my dad in particular, loves solving problems. He was an engineer. Like, he loves solving problems. And I call him with problems that I have to tap out on because this is above my pay grade, but my dad would know. He would know a faster way. He would know a way to do this more efficiently. He knows the tools, the strategy, the finesse, the craft. Like, he's taught me a lot of those things. So I can figure it out very proficiently now. But man, to have that like in my corner on my team, like, oof. Yeah. It's very different than the problems I would bring to Bree, for example.
Yes.
Hey, I need to solve this. Can you help me? Can you help me think this through? That's how I would say it. Versus with my dad, I'm like, how do I do this? And he's like, boop, 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 boop. Done.
Here you go. So great.
Or better yet, I'll just do it. And here, watch me. This is how you do it next time.
Oh, so great.
I know. Anything else?
Yeah, I want to sidebar us really quick.
Okay.
Just going back to the commitment piece. We might do a whole episode on this, just so you guys know. Because Courtney and I recently found out we love some of the same shows. And we love the same shows because of, not surprisingly, the characters are very empowered in the shows.
Oh, yes.
So there's no like drama, it's real life problems that they're solving, and we like watching the character development, all the things. So anyway, I love Bridgerton. It's one of my favorites, my very favorites on Netflix. And there's a scene where two men want the same woman.
What season are we in? Take me there.
Season 2.
Okay.
Season 2.
Okay. Yes.
And I'm trying to think how to explain this concisely. He's interested in the woman who's called Miss Sharma, right? The older sister. You may not have seen this because I know you didn't love season 2. Okay, cool. So, and then he sees her with another man, and he's not thinking like, oh, how could she do this to me? What about her loyalty? All of those things. He's sitting there going, is that a good man for her? Can he make her happy? Is he a better man than me? Can I give her what she wants? Same in season 1. Remember when the Duke is willing to walk away from Daphne because he knows, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but he can't give her an element of what she really wants within marriage. Me too. And he won't even tell her because he already knows, I know that I can't provide that. And so I'm not going to lead her on. And they don't think about it as competition. They don't think of it as an insult to her. They're thinking, who's the best fit for her? Who's going to make her the happiest? Versus with women, if there's a man that both women want, the women tend to fight each other and question the loyalty of the man. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's very interesting to me that that's how men are thinking about it. Who's going to honor her? Who's going to make her happy? Versus women are like, I need to be what he needs. And also, why isn't he loyal to me? You know? And we could unpack why that is, because there's obviously, like, it's pretty obvious how the feminine operates. So of course she thinks that way. But of course she thinks that way. Yeah. Who's going to protect me? Who's gonna, you know what I mean? And I love that about women as well. But yeah, I just find that so remarkable that they put their personal feelings aside, good, healthy men, to honor the woman and what's going to make her happy. And they will opt out, even if it's what they really want, if they think she's going to suffer.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. The self-selection process in the empowered paradigm when you're dating is
not the wounded one, but the empowered one.
Yeah. In the empowered spectrum here. In the empowered paradigm, when you're dating in an empowered space, it is far less personal. It is like, I'm not a good match for you. I can see that. I'm going to opt out.
Yep.
On your behalf. Not because you did anything wrong.
Not because I don't want you.
And not because I don't want you. I could want you all day and not be able to provide for you what you just told me that you need. And that would be a deal breaker, because no man wants to repeatedly not be able to provide what you're asking for.
Oh, doesn't it like soften your heart to men?
Yes.
A lot of times when women talk about being ghosted, that always goes through my mind, because sometimes you're in the wounded paradigm and they are avoiding it and they'll ghost, but a lot of the time, especially if this man has shown you he's a good, healthy man, there's a good chance he's ghosting because he knows he can't give you what you deserve. And he's actually putting you up here and going, I don't know if I'm a good enough man to honor her in the way she deserves to be honored. Meanwhile, women are like, I'm just not pretty enough.
Yeah, that must be it.
We can do a whole episode on that. I work with clients on that every single day, misinterpreting, because you don't know these. I mean, I'm sure you're listening to this episode and going, I don't know if I believe all this. That's how I would be.
Yep.
4 years ago, 5 years ago, if I had heard this exact episode, I would have thought, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Sounds nice.
Sounds nice. I think these girls are just like, I don't know where those men are. That's what
Delulu.
That's what I would have thought. Well, where are those men?
Yeah.
I hear that all the time on TikTok in my comments. Well, where are they hiding? You have to play in the empowered paradigm.
Yeah. They're hiding in the empowered paradigm where
They want to
feels
be
good.
Yeah, where it
it
feels
good.
Period.
They're hiding in plain sight.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And I hope this episode helps you see that. So even if you've noticed, I'll be curious to know how much resistance came up in your body as you were listening.
Yes.
You know, how many times were you like, not true in my experience, must be nice, would be nice, I don't know if I believe them. All of those thoughts. I've never experienced that. Not my dad, not the men in my life. And we're not ever, invalidating your experiences because they're true. Again, I talked extensively about my history of being in the abusive relationship, right? Like, it exists, it's real, 100%. But there's another paradigm available for you, which is exactly what I do with my clients every day. It's exactly what Courtney does, is getting people into that paradigm. And often women are shocked how good and healthy men are, and also how much happier they are while dating in a relationship. Like, the drama is just gone.
Yep.
It's just not there.
Yep.
And dating is fun and easy.
Yep.
I love helping women make dating fun because freedom.
Because it gets to be.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what you said. It's the feeling of lightness and happiness that you have been wanting to feel. It's kind of like a self-imposed own form of torture. Torture to live in the wounded paradigm. Like, just come on in, the water's great.
Come on over here. Mm-hmm. And it's, honestly, not as hard as you think.
Mm-mm.
It's just not as hard as you think. A little bit of education, a little bit of reframing, a whole lot of commitment to the process.
Yes. Oof.
And recommitment, right? But like, it's possible.
Yeah.
Dating does not have to be exhausting, and you don't have to be resentful of men your whole life. And I am a great testament to this because of the experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I wholeheartedly love men, and I wholeheartedly don't want to be in any conversation of women shitting on men anymore. I was telling Court that the other day. Like, I'm just not available.
Mm-hmm.
I just am not available for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see men that way at all.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. Yeah.
I love that. And there gets to be some nuance. Like,
Yes.
you get to, I think that's one of the things that I would say too, is this journey, while it does require a lot of commitment to the practice, gets to be yours. You get to make your own definitions of what these experiences feel like for you. We've shared some of ours in the past. But when you really actually are integrating this into your life, you do see it everywhere. Everything is practice. Everything gets to be reframed, and everything gets to feel 10 times better than it did before. And that's a choice. It's an option.
It's a choice. It is truly a choice. Well said.
Thank you.
Well, we hope you enjoyed For the Love of Men, because we love. We love the good, healthy men. 2:22 on the clock.
Look at that. Wow.
If you love this episode, please share it. Talk about it. Go play it in front of your sister and your mom and see what comes up, and you guys parse it out and talk it through, or play it in front of your dad. Check these things out with the men you love. That's the other thing. I would invite you to be like, hey, I heard on the podcast that, like, you're gonna opt out if you think you can't give me what I deserve as a potential partner. Is that true? Ask the good, healthy men in your world, not just anyone, but men who you really respect and admire, and see what they say. Because I did that when I was first learning all these things. My mind was blown. I honestly thought they were lying to me.
Yes.
What? What do you mean? But go experience it for yourself.
And then you have to remember, they are not lying to you. They are telling you what they think, not what you want to hear. So in that moment, when you're fact checking, see what resistance comes up to trusting it.
Ooh, and to trusting him. Wow. I just thought of something I want to unpack with you when we stop recording.
Okay. Write it down.
Thank you. Wait, I have a pen right here.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you for giving me what you have.
If you love the show, share it. I love the idea. Do some homework. Don't trust us. Do some homework. Go interview people in your life. Start taking what we just shared on this episode and look for it.
Yes.
You will see it. These are the most obvious ones because these are ones that you will see too. They're not like hiding. They really are in plain sight everywhere. We trust you'll see them.
Once you start to look for it, that's when you see it. But if you're not looking for that, what are you looking for?
Ooh.
That's the money question.
It
Because
really
if
is.
you are not looking for the ways that men are good and healthy and admirable, respectable, think about obviously what you are looking for unconsciously, right? Are you looking for the ways within which men lie, cheat, are disloyal, aren't good enough, don't do right by you? And a lot of times when that's been our belief system our whole life, which is easy to do when you grow up in a patriarchy, I hear you, we don't realize that we filter a whole experience and can misinterpret because our body is trying so hard to stay safe. So she's anticipating the worst. I just invite you, like Courtney said, look for, Abraham Hicks always says, look for that which you wish to see. Game changer.
100%.
Look for the ways he loves you well, takes care of you well, honors you well, tells you the truth even when it doesn't make you happy. Callie agrees if you just heard Courtney's cat.
She's a queen.
She's a queen.
She knows.
Share the show. Thank you for being here. Follow us on YouTube, on TikTok For the Love of Men, on Instagram, the For the Love of Men podcast. My personal TikTok's Building Bree. Courtney's is Courtney Shand. Instagram as well. I'm on my stories every day. I know you're really active on Instagram too. So connect with us. Send us a DM if it resonates. Callie needs some attention, so we've got to tend to her. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.